Okay, so our topic for today is international trade. Okay, so as you are aware that countries trade, right? Previously there used to be what? Barter system. Then came the system of money, and then since no country is self-sufficient, so there arises a need for trade. So there arises a need for trade. Okay, so first things first. Okay, for international trade, the first thing that we are talking about is the composition of international trade, right? So what it composes of? So composition of trade is in what? Goods and services, right? Goods and services. We will be later discussing balance of payments and we will be going through in detail, right? What the current account deals mainly, what the capital account deals mainly. Okay. So for example, the largest category of traded goods is that the manufactured goods, right? So it can be further bifurcated into two types or into three types of goods, right? One is the primary goods, right? Like the crude oil. Then the tertiary sector, tertiary means the services, and services are over here. And then comes the manufactured goods. Manufactured goods are the highest net worth value or the highest value, right? For example, refined oil. If you are talking about oil, right? What happens that in developing countries, so in developing countries, what happens is that they have large production of primary goods, and since they are of low value, since they are of low value, so since the value is low, so what happens? They have a balance of payment deficit. We will be looking at it in detail later on, but just I'm just giving you some clue about it. Okay. So first of all, we will be talking about specialization as a basis of trade. So what is the basis of trade? That is the first question which arises, and that is specialization as basis of trade, right? The reason for international trade are only an extension of the reasons for trade within a nation, right? Firms specialize in producing certain types of goods, right? This allows them to gain economies of scale and to exploit their entrepreneur and management skills and the skills of their labor force, right? It also allows them to benefit from their particular location and from the ownership of any capital, equipment or assets they possess. So what we have learned from specialization is that there are certain goods and services in which each nation will specialize because of the firms. They specialize in certain making certain goods and services. Why is that? For example, if you remember the UK used to have an excellent shoe manufacturing business in the 1900s, but later the whole industry demolished, right? Okay. So why is that they specialize? First of all, specialize in order to gain EOS, that is economies of scale, and to exploit their entrepreneurial right? Their entrepreneurial and management skills, right? Just make a few note of this, then we will proceed further. Just make a note of it. Yes, make a note of it. We will proceed further. Okay. So moving further. Okay. So moving further. Now, what is specialization? We have done the basis of trade is specialization. Okay. Now, countries also specialize. How the countries are specializing? Use more than they need of certain goods. So, certain countries produce more than they need certain goods. Okay, this allows them to gain economies, right? Since those goods are not consumed domestically, right? Since those goods are not consumed domestically, so they have enough sufficient amount that can be exported, right? Exported, right? With an EX, EX means out of the country, right? So they can export out of the country. Now coming to on the basis of trade, first you have talked about specialization. Now a very important concept that we will be discussing is of law of comparative advantage. A lot of MCQs and a lot of past paper questions comes on this. Law of comparative advantage. Okay. So what the law of comparative advantage states? Countries have different endowments of factors of production, right? They differ in population density, labor skills, climate, raw materials, capital equipment, etc. Right? A minute break, please. Okay. So the law of comparative advantage is that land and capital are totally immobile, but even with labor and capital, there tend to be more restrictions on the international movement than on the movement within the countries. So the ability to supply goods differs between the countries, right? So main thing is that the ability to supply goods, right, differ between countries. And if you are following the news, you should be well aware of it because of the Brexit. For the last few years, there's been a lot of talk about what is the competitive advantage that Britain has, what is the competitive advantage that they're going to do, and perhaps it is expected a question similar to that might be asked in the exams. Okay. Okay, next thing. What this means is that the relative cost of producing goods will vary from country to country. So, for example, if one country can produce one fridge, for example, at a cost of 6 tons of wheat, or perhaps any other denominations as well, and the other country can produce the same one fridge at 3 tons of wheat. So it means that the relative cost, right? What is the relative cost? Relative cost is when we look at one factor in terms of another. So if we are looking at this factor in terms of another factor, these are the relative costs. Okay, so now we have come to the point where we will be discussing about two things. First is the absolute advantage, and second is the comparative advantage. Yes, any idea you have? Yes, any idea of absolute advantage? So, an absolute advantage is that when when a country produce goods and services with less resources than the other country. Okay, a country produces goods and services with less resources than the other country. Okay, if for example France produces wine at less resources, right? Then for example UK produces gin with less resources. So both have an absolute advantage in it. So both will gain. Okay, so both will gain.